All right, Happy New Year, everybody. It's that time. Time for another real estate market update. So let's take a look at what's been going on for the last 30 days in real estate. So let's take a look at Massachusetts. So in Massachusetts, right now, average sales price, $719,000. Average list price, $719,000. So, I mean, when you do the math, it comes out to 1% over, but pretty much you're getting what you're asking for overall in Massachusetts for the last 30 days. So average days on market, 37 days, and there was 2,679 properties that were sold in Massachusetts in the last 30 days. And, you know, as far as trends and different things, I know what we've been looking at in the past is that, you know, all the middle categories have been going over asking or at asking, and then the higher end and the lower end have been going a little below asking. So that trend still somewhat is continuing. But the numbers have come down a little bit. So, you know, you're getting about asking price or slightly over on average throughout most of the categories. But again, the higher end homes, you're looking at below asking. So 2.5 million to 2.9 million, you know, on average, 4% below asking. And then you got 3 million to 3.9 million, on average, 3% below asking. And then 4 to 4.9 million, 7% below asking, and then 5 million to pretty much a million is 4% below asking. But ironically enough, there was one home that sold above that category, which, you know, it was listed at 9.25 million and it sold for 11.2 million. So it went 21% above asking. But, you know, that one kind of bucked the trend. The other ones were, you know, going slightly below asking, but substantially below when you compare it, you know, to the rest of the categories. All right, what about Bristol County? What's been going on in Bristol County for the last 30 days? So Bristol County, average sales price, $539,000. Average list price, $541,000. So on average, slightly below. When they do all the math, it came out to even, but obviously you can see it is slightly below. And the average days on market, 39 days on average on market. So a few of the categories that jumped out to me in Bristol County, the lower end homes as far as price goes, you got 250,000 to 299,000. There were 9 homes sold in that category, and they went on average 2% below asking. And then 300 to $349,000 range, 17 homes sold in that category, and they went on average 2% below asking. And then after that category, you know, it jumps up to getting, you know, asking, 1% above asking, you know, but then, you know, a little bit of a dip again when you get to $700 to $799,000 range. There were 12 homes in that range, and they went on average 1% below asking. And then the range right above it, 800,000 to 899,000. There are 9 homes sold in that range, and they went on average 3% below asking. And then after that, it jumps back up to asking. And then there was one category that was really hot in Bristol County. It was the $1 million to $1.499 million range, and that went on average 5% above asking. And there were 5 homes sold in that range, and it still had an average of 5% above asking. So that's kind of the sweet spot if you're looking to sell. And if you're looking to buy, you know, those categories I just mentioned, that's kind of the sweet spot as far as, you know, you might be able to find a deal in some of those brackets that we just talked about. All right, let's jump over to Rhode Island. So what's been going on in Rhode Island for the last 30 days? So the average sales price in Rhode Island is $564,000. And that was based on 501 homes. And the average days on market in Rhode Island, 34 days on average in Rhode Island on the market. So what about Florida? Florida, average sales price, $468,000. Average days on market, 52 days on average on market in Florida. So, you know, like the trend we've been seeing, you know, higher days on market in Florida, much higher, you know, than up north up here. And while we're talking about Florida, you know, I always like to throw in Orlando because that's the area, you know, when I say my hometown, well, when I go to Florida, that's kind of like my hometown down there. Not really, maybe one day it'll be. But anyway, so I like to throw that in there because you're talking at 674 homes alone just in Orlando sold. The average sales price in Orlando, $442,000, and average days on market, 42. So things do sell a little bit quicker in Orlando, compared to the rest of Florida. All right, let's talk about investment properties. So what's been going on with the multifamily homes in the last 30 days? So for Massachusetts, average sales price for multifamily homes, $716,000. Average list price, $716,000. So on average, you're getting what you're asking for, in a multifamily home. So there's not too much to dive into because it was pretty consistent across the board. You are still seeing some of the slight trends, like, from 2.5 million to 2.99 million. There were two homes and they went 4% below asking. Then the category after that, 3 million to 3.9 million, went 7% below asking. That was only two homes. And then there was one home, that was listed at 4.975 million and it sold for 4.4 million. So it went for 12% below asking. But most of the categories throughout are all pretty much asking, maybe 1% over, 2% over, 3%. So I guess if you're looking at a sweet spot, the highest percentage was 1 million to 1.49 million. There were 47 properties sold in that range, multifamilies, and they went on average 3% above asking. But there's not too many going below asking until you get really low, where you're looking at probably flip properties, 150,000 to 199,000. There were 5 homes sold in that category, and they went on average 11% below asking. But that's really the only spot if you're looking to buy and find a deal. That's really the only category that jumped out to me as far as multifamily goes in Massachusetts. All right, what about multifamily properties in Bristol County? So for Bristol County, average sales price, $624,000. Average list price, $614,000. So properties are going, above asking, multifamilies in Bristol County. So on average, they're going 2% above asking. And there were 67 multifamily properties that sold in Bristol County in the last 30 days. In some of the categories, there was a section that did jump out to me, and that was from 400 to 449,000. Actually, I'll just give you the full range here. So from 400,000 to 699,000, if you want to break it full, that's the range right there that was going above asking, at the highest percentage. But to break into it a little bit deeper, from 400 to 449,000, on average 5% above asking, and that was 7 homes. Then the next bracket up, 450,000 to 499,000, on average 5% above asking, and that was based on 8 homes. And then the next bracket up, 500,000 to 599,000, 23 multifamilies in Bristol County in that range, and they sold on average for 3% above asking. And then the range right above that, 600 to 699,000, there were 16 homes sold in that range, and they went on average 3% above asking. And and how long do multifamilies stay on the market, compared to Massachusetts, Bristol County? That's one thing to look at too. So only 28 days on market for Bristol County multifamily. So you can kind of see where that falls, compared to the other ones. And then as far as Rhode Island goes, for multifamily properties, average sales price, $513,000. And that's based on 127 homes, multifamily homes that sold in Rhode Island in the last 30 days. All right, now let's dive into my hometown. So let's start off with Swansea, right? So Swansea, on average sales price, $391,000. Average list price, $390,000. So slightly over asking in Swansea, 1% above. That was based on 8 homes. And the average days on market, 27 days. So what's been going on in Seekonk for the last 30 days? So in Seekonk, the average sales price is $593,000. The average list price, $580,000. So on average, 1% above in Seekonk, which I almost had to take a double check at that because, 580 to 593 just sounds like more than 1%, but I'm going to trust the math on this, and that's what the math comes out. That's based on 11 homes, so maybe just psychologically it seemed different to me, but that's what it's saying, 1% above. So there were a couple of homes that did jump out to me category-wise. in Seekonk, but again, we're only based on 11 homes, so it's a lot of singular homes. So, you know, it's not really a trend so much because it's just one home in that category. But still, the numbers are the numbers, right? So, you know, one home that jumped out to me was one home in the $500,000 to $599,000 range. That was on the market for 62 days. And, you know, it was on the market at $460,000 and it ended up selling for $510,000. So $510,000 for $460,000. So it went 11% above asking. And then one other home that jumped out to me, it was a home that was on the market for $1,029,500, and it ended up selling for $1,204,920. So it went for 17% above asking. But those are the two outliers. There were a lot of categories. I should say a lot because not a lot of homes sold. It's only 11 homes, but there were some categories that went below asking. So, like for example, 400 to 449,000 went 1% below. 450 to 499 went 4% below. 300 to 349 went 3% below. So, kind of a wide range, a little bit of a mix, you know, in Seekonk. Overall, average days on market in Seekonk, 35 days on market on average in Seekonk. All right, let's jump over to Somerset. So Somerset, average sales price, $392,000. Average list price, $402,000. So on average in Somerset, you're seeing a little dip, 2% below asking across the board. Again, Somerset, just based on 11 homes, so actually same amount of homes as Seekonk. You know, I'm not really going to get into too many categories here. Not too many jumped out at me. I guess if I had to talk about one, it would be the $300,000 to $349,000 range. There were two homes in that category. Average days on market, 119 in that category. And they went on average 9% below asking. And, you know, overall, 35 days on average in Somerset on the market. What about Dighton? What's been going on in Dighton for the last 30 days? So Dighton, average sales price, $507,000. Average list price, $507,000. So you're getting about what you're asking for in Dighton. Average days on market are a little higher in Dighton, 44 days on average. This is only based on 8 homes. And again, I'm not really going to dive into categories here. You know, it's kind of even across the board. I guess if there's one that's really below, it would be $450,000 to $499,000. The home that was in that range was on the market for 152 days. It was on the market for $479,000 and ended up selling for $460,000. And if you wanted to jump on the other spectrum, as far as, you know, which ones went above asking, from $400,000 to $449,000. But there were 3 homes in that category, and they went on average 3% above asking. And the average days on market in that category, 22 days. So those homes are not selling. Well, they are selling fast, but they're not staying on the market. That's what I meant to say. So those homes are selling pretty quick, 400 to 449,000. So I guess that's kind of the sweet spot if you're selling, and something to keep in mind, you know, if you're going to be putting an offer in on a home, you know, in that price range. And let's jump over to Rehoboth. So Rehoboth, average sales price, $548,000. Average list price, $549,000. So, you know, it's about even there. Average days on market, only 29 days on average in Rehoboth. And again, 11 homes. 11, I guess, is like the sweet spot in my hometown, because most of the towns have sold 11 homes. So if I'm going to go play the lottery, I guess I'm going to go play the number 11 on something, because I'm seeing 11 jump up all over the place on my hometown report here. So, you know, the one category that jumped out, I guess, if I have to pick one, is the $400,000 to $449,000 range. Again, that's like a hot area. So you're looking at 6% above asking on average. It was only 2 homes, but still 6% above asking. And the average days on market in that category in Rehoboth, 12 days on average on market. You know, 6 days until the offer was put in on average. So, so that category is moving pretty fast in Rehoboth. All right, now let's jump over to Rhode Island. So Barrington, what's been going on over in Barrington? So the average sales price in Barrington, $934,000. And that was based on 9 homes that sold in Barrington in the last 30 days. Let's jump over to Bristol, Rhode Island. In Bristol, average sales price, $905,000. And that was based on 13 homes in Bristol for the last 30 days. And then we'll talk about Warren. So Warren, Rhode Island, average sales price, 440,000. But again, typical trend in Warren, we're not seeing a lot of movement on properties. Only 2 homes sold in Warren in the last 30 days. All right, so that's a wrap for the January real estate market update. Thank you for watching. You know, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. My number's up on the screen. You know, give me a call, send me a text message. And also coming soon, like I've been talking about, I'm gonna be doing some videos on kitchens and kitchen cabinets and different things like that. So stay tuned for that. And other than that, you know, have a great new year. Be safe, stay warm. You know, it actually hasn't been too bad of a winter so far. I should probably knock on that wood behind me. But, you know, we haven't had a lot of bad stuff going on as far as big snowstorms and stuff. I just jinxed it, so you can blame me now when they start coming and the snow doesn't stop. But anyway, you know, enjoy the new year. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Take care.